Okay, thank you, Stephen. You hear me? Yeah? Please allow me not to hide behind the rostrum. I think I look better like this. About 8 or 9 months ago, the lady chairperson, Amanda Go, when she first approached me to do this topic, selling properties, non-distressed properties by way of auction, I actually hesitated. Because at that point of time, in my mind, I was thinking, I think there are very few case studies, real-life case studies in Malaysia for me to talk about it. But then again, after much thought, much thinking, I feel I'm here today not to provide answers. I'm here today is to instill questions in your mind and to stir up your thinking. Alright? Is that okay with you? Yes? So I will expect more questions at the end of the day because I will try to complete my slides earlier. Now let's start. So first of all, before we can understand how to sell property, non-distressed property by way of auction, we need to look at how public auctions for distressed properties are to be done in Malaysia. And then secondly, we are going to see selling non-distressed properties by auction, the Malaysian and the Australian model. Note, there is a Malaysian local model, which, if you ask me personally, I feel is not fully explored. Alright? I will touch the points as we go. And last but not least, I will touch on e-bidding. E-bidding in Malaysia is going to be the future and it's going to be very, very near future. Now, you can actually find auctions. Yeah. Thank you. It's a very nice video. I still laugh until today, after 20 times looking at it. All right, let's look at public auction. What is public auction all about? The definition under the Auction Sales Enactment. Sale by public auction means a sale by auction at which an invitation, express or implied, is given to the public or any class of the public to become purchasers. Notice, under this definition, under the law, there isn't a single word saying about distressed property. Meaning public auction can mean also non-distressed property. Why I'm saying there is a reason why I want to put this up. We will discuss it later. All right. After that, sale by public auction is a way by which properties are put up for sale by the bank as a last resort to recover the loans. This is the most conventional public auctions we are facing every day right now. And at an auction, bidders gather to bid for the property that they are interested, and the bidder who offers the highest bid will be declared the successful buyer for the property. Very straightforward so far, all right? So in public auctions, there are mainly 4 parties involved. Number 1 is the bank because currently 99% of the public auctions are foreclosure, distressed property. So the banks are involved. Then you have auctioneer. For your information, all auctioneers' licenses are given on a state basis. If they are a state auctioneer in Selangor, they cannot conduct an auction in Johor unless they also have an auctioneer license in Johor. And then you have the lawyers doing the conveyancing, and then you have the marketing agents. Yeah, this is where my company also come in. We sit in over 20 different financial intermediaries as panel agents. Yeah, when we bring bidders to go and bid, upon successful bidding, we get paid from the bank. And there are mainly two types of public auctions for sale. Non-LACA, it is a judicial auctions under the National Land Code. If you see a High Court auction, it means the title is held under HSD, Hak Milik Sementara District, yeah, Daerah. Or if you see Land Office auction, then it simply means the title is held under HSM, Mukim. And then you have the second part, which is the bigger amount of the cases, which is called LACA case. It's non-judicial auctions, and the public auctions it is the public auctions by banks and at the auctioneer's office. It's not going to be conducted at the court or the land office. And for cases these are for cases which separate individuals or strata title has not been issued. For those who don't know, LACA simply means loan agreement cum assignment. All right? So why buy properties via auctions? Well, it is a simple and straightforward process, and it offers a wide range of choices, yeah? Especially during the auction fair. In auction fair now, we can see like CIMB Property Mart, you can actually see more than sometimes 30, 50 different types of property available for sale on the same particular day. And then it has a greater degree of transparency through an open bidding process because the bidding is going to be done in the same room. And to buy a property of their choice at a price that they wanted, it's up to the bidders to choose whether they want to put their hands up or not. And good and fair price of investment. It is less hassle and quick sale as it will avoid long negotiation process which occur in a private sale. Well, if you are talking about especially LACA cases where, let's say today the property is not auctioned out, very soon, probably in 1 or 2 months' time later, they will actually revise the price lower down by 10%, letting people coming in to bid again. So you won't be seeing a very lengthy negotiation price between the buyer and the seller. Nothing to lose, as deposit will be refunded if bidding is not successful. Basically, you will get back your first of 5% deposit if you didn't manage to buy that property. Lower risk of financing, this is especially so when you are actually buying at below market value. And no sale or purchase documentation fee. Why? Simple, because when you are buying an auction property, the contract of sales, the terms and sales is already been written and finalized. Okay, you can't change a single word. Right after your bidding, right after successful bidding, you are supposed to go and sign the contract of sales immediately. So prior to auctions, this is what you should do. You obtain a copy of proclamation of sale. You conduct a land title search to see if there's any encumbrances. You make inquiry from developers, landowners, or relevant authorities, and you inspect the subject property. The inspection of the subject property here is very tricky, especially for distressed property, because more often than not, all this distressed property, either nobody is staying there, yeah, it is locked, or the owner, the borrower who are staying there, that this person is not going to let you in to go and inspect his house, because you are going to, the bank is trying to auction away his house. So this inspection property can be a bit challenging when it comes to distressed property for auction. Then I mentioned the proclamation of sales, we normally call POS. These are some of the very important data that you need to look for. The property details, the details of title, strata title, master title, the reserve price. Reserve price. In a distressed property scenario, it is, I think, 99.99% you are going to see a reserve price. But when it comes to non-distressed property, you may not see the word reserve price. All right? So, and then you have the terms and condition of sales. Well, the terms and condition of sales here will actually form the main body of the contract of sales that you are going to execute and sign later. And then, of course, you have the date, the time, and venue of the auction, especially the venue. If this is a High Court auction, the venue will be at High Court. If this is a Land Office auction, the venue will be at Land Office. And if this is a bank's auction, LACA cases, the venue will be usually at the auctioneer's office. Okay, the auction day itself, all intending bidder to bring along your 5 to 10% of the reserve price check in the form of a bank draft, banker's check, or cashier order made in favor of the bank concerned. We have cases where the interested bidder wrote the wrong name. All right, there are many ways how to write this check. You always refer to the POS, how to write and issue this particular check is very important. You wrote it wrongly, you are not eligible to bid. And bring along your ID card. And if you are the representative, you bring a letter of authorization to sign and bid on behalf. And the auctioneer will proclaim the particulars. Yeah, he will announce the particulars of the property and the minimum raise per bid. I have gone to an auction before where this is only an 80,000 land auction at land office. 80,000, very cheap. So we actually thought, before we go there, we actually thought each raise will be 1,000. Yeah? Makes sense, right? 80,000, you raise one hand, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. But because the auctioneer there together with the DO officer, they actually suspected there are some price fixing outside. There are some price fixing going on. So what he decided was, all right, the first bid, the first person who bid is going to be 10,000 more. So it's really up to them to decide. So again here, you will see the opening bid will be the reserve price. I purposely point out this is because in the case of a non-distressed property auction, you can choose not to start from reserve price. All right, there is a great difference here. And a raise of hand will raise the bid by once and no bid can be withdrawn. After 3 calls of the auctioneer and the 4 of the hammer, the 4 of the hammer, and the sale is concluded to the highest bidder. So successful bidder, if the final bidding price is higher than the reserve price, the bidder will now have to pay the differential sum, all right, with cash or bank draft, and he has to sign the contract of sales immediately, I mentioned just now, after the 4 of the hammer, and the bidder to appoint the solicitor to do the transfer, and all costs incurred will be borne by the bidder, of course. Bidder to apply for loan from financial institution for balance purchase price, he will be given average 90 to 120 days for that purpose. Now, it is very difficult to obtain data with regards to auction in Malaysia. So it so happened that 2 years ago, a reporter, 1.5 years ago, a reporter from Johor was actually trying to do an article. Yeah. So at that point of time, she interviewed me, and she also managed to find some statistics here, and I'm sharing it with you. So you won't be able to. You only have to look at 2 figures. You see, in 2012, the total of the cases are not transaction data, not transaction, but cases. Auction cases, all these are distressed property, is 46,000. And then successful transaction is 28%. You look at this, the highest amount of cases of auction, Abang Adik, Selangor, Johor. Yeah, Abang Adik, Selangor, Johor. And then you look at 2013, note just now was 46,000. It went down in 2013 to 30,000. 30,000, yeah? And the successful transactions still remain at plus minus about 28%. Again, in the same year, Selangor and Johor remains abang adik. Sorry. So this is the data for 2014 as at 31st of October that year. You see 23,000. Just now it was 30 over 1,000. Yeah, from 46 to 30, now it's 23,000. And now we actually have a successful transaction rate of round about 28 to 30%. And I don't have the exact data for 2015, but after talking to many experienced auctioneers around in Malaysia, they all told me there was a further drop of at least 20 to 30% in 2015 in terms of number of cases. So what does this actually tell us? Is the market actually getting better, or more people actually are more interested looking at auction property right now? First of all, the transacted cases remain at about 28 to 30. Yeah, we actually know there is a fixed group of people. They are always observing and interested in auction properties. Secondly, from 2012 to the total cases kept on reducing every year until today. Mainly is because in January 2012, our Bank Negara has come out to this new lending policy called responsible lending policy, which effectively turns away the loans which are not really eligible. All right? So if you ask me, I would say the cases drop so much is mainly because the stringence of our Bank Negara in terms of loan giving out. So these are some of the general things that we need to look at and understand about our so-called public auctions, yeah, for distressed property in Malaysia. Now, let's look at something new. This is so new that I think probably as at the time I'm talking today, there should be less than 100 cases in Malaysia. All right, which is selling non-distressed property by way of auction. You will notice the majority of my notes here on this particular part, I am referring to the Australian model instead of the Malaysian model. On one simple reason, I think the Malaysian model basically are so similar to what we have learned from the first part, except for those things, the procedures, everything almost 99% identical, except the fact that these properties are not distressed property. All right, that is the Malaysian model. So I want to share with you the Australian model. So first of all, these are not distressed properties, number one. And the owner set reserve price with the assistance from agents and maybe through a valuation report done through valuers. This is very important because for distressed property, the reserve price will be set by the bank. The owner will have no say. Yeah, if it's so much lower than what he's owing to the bank, he just need to top up. Yeah, pity him. But now, if you are selling your client's property by way of auction, you can set your own reserve price. Of course, if you think you are a smart elect, the 1 million property you are going to set your reserve price is 1.2 million, you are going to scare away your bidders. Nobody will come, right? So, it can be a more costly option as compared with other means of selling methods such as private treaty and tender, simply because you need more people coming involved. Number one, auctioneer. You cannot conduct any kind of auction whatsoever in Malaysia without a licensed auctioneer. And please remember, I mentioned to you, If your property, your client's property is in Selangor, please go and engage a Selangor auctioneer. If your property is in Sabah, please go and engage a Sabah auctioneer. And if you are engaging a Sabah auctioneer, the good and bad news is they are the most expensive in Malaysia. If you look at their rate, yeah, they have a rate. So, in Malaysia, it can be a challenge to convince owner to sell by auction, as generally auction is always been relayed to forced sale by the bank. I'm sure you all understand what I'm talking about here because, especially Chinese lah, you tell them, hey, boss, you want me to lelong your house? When you say this to your client, I think 9 out of 10 client might come back to you and say, no, why I want you to relong my house? I never own any bank, right? And maybe for the surrounding neighborhood also, his face doesn't look that good lah. So, I first tried to bring in this method of selling to Malaysia during 2000, the year 2000. At that point of time in Johor, it's right after the financial crisis. Yeah, nobody want to buy anything. Nobody want to buy anything. So we actually go and approach the owner, and the owner quickly say yes because they don't care what. It's a buyer's market. Yeah, you approach me now. I don't care how you want to sell it. You just sell it for me. All right. So I think when there is a buyer's market, this is probably one of the easier way out. It's easier for us to go and convince the owner. So probably now is one of the better timing. All right. And before the auctions, the agent will assist the owner to ascertain reserve price. You need to engage an auctioneer. And you need to set time and venue. This is something very interesting because when you set time and venue, where are you going to do the auctioning? Is it in a hotel? You know, in Australia or New Zealand for that matter, especially for landed property, they prefer to do the auction in the house. Outside the house, at the house, yeah? At the subject property itself. Why? Because they feel when all the bidders are looking at that house, they will feel more emotional involved. Yeah? The successful rate or the successfulness of an auction depends on this word called excitement, yeah, and emotionally involved. When you get excited, yeah, when you get more emotionally involved, the more people are willing to come up with higher bids. So you need to set condition with sales with assistance from lawyer. In Australia, they have a standard sale and purchase agreement that is provided by their real estate institutes. But in Malaysia, we are not there yet. So I would advise you go to your lawyer and draft a standard sale and purchase agreement. And take note, this is going to be drafted by you. Meaning, whoever going to buy and go and bid for this property, he cannot change a single word. All right? He has to abide and follow all the terms and conditions that you lay out. So after that, you need to start marketing activities, usually through open house. What the Australian will do, they will probably do an open house 2 weeks or 1 month before. Yeah? That is to prepare the interested parties for their mindset that, today I see so many people coming. So in 1 week time, this is what we are going to do. Yeah, all these people are going to fight together with you. So you better be mentally prepared. And then a better control in price fixing by syndicates, as all bidding process are under close supervision of agent in charge and the owner. So on the auction day, the deposit to be placed with the auctioneer and the opening bid. Now, this is the different part. Just now we learned the opening bid for a distressed property always can only start from reserve price. So once the auctioneer started the auction, and the first guy who put out his hand, he will have to buy lah. You cannot say no. But when it comes to non-distressed property that we choose to sell for our client using auction method, now let's say the reserve price is 1 million. the auctioneer can choose to ask the people to make the first bid at 800,000. You don't have to start with 1 million. It's absolutely at the discretion of the auctioneer and with the agent and the owner. Yeah? So they will start with probably 800,000 and we go. If the bidding already exceeded 1 million, now the auctioneer is going to say the property is now on the market. When the auctioneer says this word, it means whoever raised his hand right after this word, he has to buy. He cannot say no. He has to buy. So what if it only went up to 900,000 and you know the reserve price is 1 million? There are two situations here. The first situation, the auctioneer can immediately seek consent from the owner. I'm sorry, Mr. Lim, are you willing to put the property on the market at 900,000? If he says yes, then the property is on the market. If he says no, and there are not any other higher bidder, then this bid will actually go. They actually call this the property. The property will be passed in. Yeah, passed in. P-A-S-S-E-D. Passed in. This is what I explained just now. Yeah, the property will be passed in if the reserve price is not met. Okay? Then show me the money, of course. Upon successful bidding, the successful bidder will be given 90 to 120 days to pay the remaining sum, either through bank loans or cash. And contract of sales will be signed immediately upon successful bidding. These are the same as before. And after the fall of the hammer and the differential sum to be paid. All right? So why sell property by way of auction? People who bid are buying with terms and conditions determined by the vendor. You tell your vendor, you set your rule. If you say your rule is 3 plus 3, then it's 3 plus 3. All right? So whoever come and bid, they will have to follow. Vendors are protected by the reserve price. Remember what I said just now? The reserve price will be set by you. You will decide. If you feel you want to lower down your reserve price on the spot, by all means, do so. Okay? And if the property doesn't sell at the auction, the vendor is commonly put in direct contact with the most likely buyer and can enter further negotiations. You see, the thing, it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop at the auctions. If the property is not auctioned out during the auction, the highest bidder or the second highest bidder will be put in direct negotiation together with the owner. Yeah, they all can do the negotiation later. And an early sale can occur when a buyer feels pushed. You know, when I do the open house 2 or 3 weeks before the auctions, some buyer will say, "Wow, this property got so many people come and see. I think I better. Why don't I buy now?" Yes, you can. You can actually buy now. Yeah, at a price. And it could be even more than the reserve price. If more than one person wants to buy the property, the competitive nature of an auction can cause people to bid higher than they originally wanted to spend. And this can result in a large profit for the owner. So let's look at how an actual non-distressed property auction looks like.
I think we're in shock. I think we're in massive shock. That wasn't the way we anticipated the auction to go at all. With the first bid basically taking it on the market immediately, it was just, we're speechless. Kept us informed the whole time. We knew exactly where we stood, and he was amazing. Him and his team were amazing, and Nikki as well, so it was great.
Yeah, he was great. Like Coach said, he keeps you informed 100% of the time, and if you're not sort of certain on saying, he's very reassuring. And
we've all done our homework, and very good to see. What a location we have here, ladies and gentlemen. As we stand here, we're in the heart of the city of Whitehorse, exactly what it means to live in Nunawading. We're exactly 24.9 k's into Melbourne CBD. To be a resident of Nunawading, and I see so many familiar faces here, they'll agree, it means so many things. We could talk for hours about what this home offers, the lifestyle, the convenience. Now, fair and reasonable start, 27 O'Shanassy, your hands now, buyers. Where do we start? Where do we go? 900, good strong bid, madam. Understand it, 900. Now buyers, that's designed to knock you out. At 900,000 now, I'll call for a 10 rise from here. 910 and welcome, sir. At 910 and 20 straight back and 30 if you like. At 20 now and 30 now, what about 50? At 930 now and 40 if you like. At 930,000 and 40 I've got. Jess Brammer 1, what do you say? 980,000. Make no mistake, we're selling. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been fast and furious.
He works extremely hard and he's extremely positive. Like I said, if you're a bit down and not feeling super confident, he'll get you back up in an instant. So.
$1 million even money, fairly bid, fairly offered at $1 million now. First time now at $1 million. Sir, another 5 on top if you like. Otherwise, we're going to sell at $1,005,000. We're selling. Welcome to Nunawading. Oh, congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for attending another Barry Plant auction.
We're $1 million house.
Well done.
We knew we could do it. We knew we could do it.
Johnny Boy did a good job.
You did a great job.
Not many auctioneers in Malaysia can speak like John Stack. All right. Now, before I end, there is some new information here because according to our Chief Justice Tun Arifin Zakaria, the e-bidding in property will start in July 2016, in 2-3 months' time. And with e-bidding, according to him, the bidding process will be more transparent as it will be open to more prospective bidders, and this will also help to hasten the debt recovery process. And of equal importance, the e-bidding will eliminate any syndicate which tends to interfere with the bidding process, which may lead to artificial pricing. If you really ask me, the major biggest problem with e-bidding will be internet connection. What if you like this property so much and you press, no line. Then die a day. Conclusion. There isn't much hard and fastened rules or conditions set by the government in regulating selling property by way of auction. Yeah, there is only this book called the Laws of Auction, which is 44 pages. Only 44 pages, yeah. Notice I don't use the word private auction here. Many auctioneers outside and the players outside, I mean no offense, they are using the word private auction for non-distressed property. I disagree and I beg to differ. Yeah, because selling non-distressed properties by way of auction will be open to the public as well. So or even to only a certain class of people, as long as the bidder's identity are open, it shall be deemed as public auction. Let me give you a very simple example of what private auction is about. Let's say you go and attend a private auction to purchase and bid underwear. Would you like other people to know who bought it or not? No, right? So in this case, in products such as this, yeah, underwear, yes, they really auction underwear. Yeah, believe me. Products as this, they will go by private auction, yeah? So, the third one, auctions are no longer just for distressed properties. With the right knowledge and skills, non-distressed properties in the secondary property market can be sold with style through auctions like what he did just now. Thank you very much.